Hello guys, my name is Amaka and you're welcome to Lizama Stitches. So in this tutorial, we are going to be learning how to make a shirt sleeve. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. So let's get started. So this is the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial. We are learning how to make a shirt sleeve. So I'm going to start by ruling a line which is going to serve as my starting point. So now the first thing I'm going to do is to input my cap height measurement. Now my cap height measurement is 3.5 inches. Now if you want to know your cap height measurement, how to calculate your cap height measurement is by dividing your bust circumference by 12 inches. Whatever it gives you, you add 0.5 inches to it, and whatever it gives you, that's your cap height measurement. So my cap height measurement is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to connect the points. So my elbow line is 14 inches. And the full length of my sleeve is 24 inches. But because I'm going to minus 3 inches for the curve, so 24 minus 3 inches gives you 21 inches plus half inch, which I'm going to use to join the sleeve to the curve, gives you 21.5 inches. So I'm marking 21.5 inches here. And I'll connect the points. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to impute my armhole measurement. Now half of my armhole measurement is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 gives you 8 inches. So this is half of my armhole measurement, 8 inches. Now take note, I marked my armhole measurement on the cap height line. So now I'm going to connect this point to this point. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to find the midpoint of this line. So this is the midpoint of this line. This is the midpoint of this line. So from this midpoint, I'm going to go up by ½ inch. I'll go up by ½ inch. And I'm going to find the midpoint of this point and this point. So this is the midpoint. Now from this point, I'm going to go up by 1/4 inch. I'm going to find the midpoint of this point and this point. Now from this point, I'm going to come down by 1/4 inch. And I'll connect the points. So I'm going to connect this point to this point, just like this. So I'm going to connect this point to this point with a straight line. So I'll connect this point to this point and this point to this point, just like this. And I'll connect this point to this point and this point to this point. So my half of my elbow circumference is 6.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 6.55 inches here. Now on this line, I'm going to mark my wrist measurement. Now this is how I'm going to do it. This is the measurement I'm using. So what I have here is 9 inches. So I'm going to half of 9 inches is 4.5 inches. So that's what I'm marking here. 4.5 inches. And I'll connect the points. I'm going to add my seam allowance. I'm using 1 inch for my seam allowance. I'll add 1 inch here, 1 inch here, and 1 inch. So I'll connect the points. Now I'll cut it. Now this is my basic sleeve. I'm going to trim the front sleeve. Now this is my, when I trim this part, so this part is going to be my front sleeve. So just, I'm going to do it just like this.
Now take note, it's one part of my sleeve that I cut. I didn't cut the back, it's the upper part that I cut, not the lower part, the part that I marked. The front, not the back. So I have a tutorial on how to draft a basic sleeve. I'm going to leave the link of that video in the description box below so that you can check it out later.
This is my front sleeve. So I'm going to notch it so that, so this is my front sleeve. So I'm going to cut my sleeve. I'm going to cut it open. Now before I do that, now my seam allowance is 1 inch. My seam allowance is 1 inch, so I'm going to notch it. Now take note, it's the back sleeve that I'm slitting. It's the back. I'm going to slit the back. I'm going to slit the back, not the front. This is the front, and this is the back. So it's the back that I'm going to slit. From this 1 inch seam allowance, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches. From the main line, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches. So I'm marking my 2.5 inches for the slit. So my slit is going to be 4 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to mark ½ inch here, and I'll mark ½ inch here. And from here, I'm going to come down by ½ inch. And I'll connect this point to this point and this point to this point. So now I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew it. I have my placket here. Now this is my placket. I've ironed my placket already. Now what I have here is 2.5 inches. I have my placket is 2.5 inches, and what I did is I folded in ½ inch here and folded in ½ inch, and after folding half inch, I now folded it again. I now folded it into two. So what I have here is 2.5 inches. Now this is my interfacing. I've ironed interfacing on my cuff. I've ironed interfacing on it, and I left ½ inch seam allowance all around it. I didn't add interfacing on this one. So let's go over to the sewing machine. So this is what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to open this. I'm going to open it like this, and I'll fix my placket this way. And I'll sew it. So after sewing, now this is what I have. You see what I have after sewing. So I'm going to bring it together just like this. And I'll sew here and sew here, sew here. So this is it. So I'm going to cut off this part. So the next thing I'm going to do is to sew here with 1 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to sew here. So this is the back and this is the front. So I'm going to sew here and I'll sew here. Sew here. I'll sew here. So I'm going to sew. I'm sewing only one part. This part, I'm not sewing this part. I'll pleat this part a little. I'm going to sew here. Now this is inside. So I'm going to close here and I'll sew here. Sew here to this point. Now this is my sleeve, so I'm going to attach the buttons and that will be all. I have a tutorial on how to make shirts. I'm going to leave the link of that video in the description box below so that you can check it out later. I also have a tutorial on how to make basic sleeve. I'm going to leave the link of that video in the description box below so that you can check it out later. If you found this tutorial helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Share this video in your sewing groups. Subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Lizama Stitches. We've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye!